time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. Sorry to bump the mic there with my baseball here. I was all excited for today's show to get the week off going right here on the Get Home Safe podcast, our Tuesday episode, of course, filming and recording here on Monday afternoon. And news broke earlier today that it is official. Elon Musk is in fact purchasing Twitter. Saying that even seems weird, but definitely made the best offer, we'll say, to the Twitter universe out there. And this story's been going on for a week or so. And I just have a few thoughts off the bat from some people I've heard and listened to and people I trust. And just right off the bat today, the concept of free speech in this country, the United States of America, free speech does exist. It seems like the past few years, some sides of the aisle and such have been trying hard to remove free speech and limit free speech and censor free speech. And a few questions that I think about. I always try to think logically with these things, not so much, all the details and, the X's and O's and the commas and the periods and all these things. I just try to think from a logical standpoint. And this is something I heard from Dennis Prager. Again, often someone I always listen to and someone I go to. I don't agree with everything he says, but he usually makes a lot of sense. And everyone's complaining now about free speech. Elon Musk, he's going to open the gates. It's not free speech. It's going to be, dictatorships are going to rise. And, just ask yourself the question, which dictators throughout history had more free speech available, or did they censor the people, take away the voices of the people? I think a pretty obvious example right now is China. Is there a lot of free speech there going on right now? I don't think so. They kind of have control over everything. But all the previous dictators and evil people throughout history, did they come in and tell everyone, we want everyone to have a voice, everyone say whatever you want, it doesn't matter, you don't have to agree with us? Do you think dictators have operated that way throughout history? I sure don't. So those are my 2 cents. They're not even my original thought, but it makes sense to me talking about free speech. And again, the running joke, at least my running joke, is inflation is so high that free speech is even expensive. So I also want to make a comment about free speech. Okay, free speech, it's called free speech, not have to agree with speech or nice speech. Okay, there's plenty of things that are said in the world. Well, I should say, let's limit it to America. There's plenty of things that are said in America that are televised, that are available to you. Okay, just because someone has a freedom, or excuse me, let me backtrack on that. Just because it's something you don't agree with or want to hear, doesn't mean that you have a right to say, well, they can't say that. I don't know who said the quote. I disagree with what you say, but I will fight to the death for your right to defend it. I mean, there's so many things that are said on Twitter, on Facebook, on podcasts, things I completely disagree with, but in no way would I ever be like, that person doesn't deserve to say that, or that person just said something evil. How could they say? I mean, yes, right and wrong, good and evil. Okay, there's a line there, but even the speech you disagree with, even speech that is wrong, okay, it's called free speech for a reason, not mostly free. Okay, we talk a lot about freedom and equality and all those things, right? Well, freedom truly does mean that. Freedom, the independence, the ability to do so without repercussion. Now, we have laws set up, which, as far as fire in a burning building or, accusing people of inciting violence, those types of things. Okay, fine. But to not let people express an opinion, or if they provide facts and then you just say, no, their opinion's wrong. That's what we've seen the past few years. I actually like when you hear different opinions and approaches from different sides, because then you for yourself make the decision what is best. Don't say, oh, shut that person down. Shut them down. That makes zero. They can't say that. Well, actually, it's America. You can say that. You can say, but it's really funny to me when people do have an opinion about something, they start to provide some evidence, some facts, and some sides are just like, no, shut it down. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, wait, they're actually giving you examples right now. And that's not good enough. My way or the highway. And I just don't think that's a very good way to do business, way to live life and all that. So Elon Musk, look at, again, I said this last week, the dude is not some like super right-wing conservative guy. He just believes in free speech. He believes in that this wokeness world has kind of put us in a bad position here. So I don't know. It's funny to me who is in favor of more, who is against more free speech. It really is hilarious to me. The same people that want control. We're the ones that's supposed to tell you. We're the only voices you're supposed to listen to. It's not exactly how the country was founded, nor how it should continue forward. That brings me to another point today that I want to bring up something. The difference between cancel culture and boycotting. We all have the ability to boycott. We have the choices of which products to buy, which channels to watch, which sports to enjoy. We have the right to do those, to choose, right? Freedom of choice. And the issue for me with boycotting something versus cancel culture, where someone is officially canceled, and by cancel culture, I mean they're ruined. Basically, there are people out there that someone will say something online that they find insensitive or offensive or whatever. This person, they shouldn't have a job. And then they don't stop there. They keep going. This whole libs of TikTok thing is a great example. That the Washington Post journalist, will say in quotes, wanted to ruin the life of the operator, I should say, of the libs of TikTok account. I didn't even know this much about this stuff. I do know that it was an account that was basically wasn't making up any videos. It was actually just offering up videos of other people who have made these videos themselves. That's all they're doing. But the journalism is at an all-time low in our country, and it was attempting to ruin the operator of this page. And so that is the difference to me between cancel culture. Me, for example, not watching the NBA as much the past few years, and I've seen a few games here the past few weeks, but me boycotting, me choosing to not partake in the content of something, it's not even so much a boycott. It's just me choosing. I don't want to support that. I don't want to watch that. That is your freedom to do so. At no point did I go about and say, I think the NBA shouldn't even exist. They should shut the league down. It shouldn't happen. And any leagues that want to come up just after it, they shouldn't exist either. And they shouldn't be able to go play anywhere else. That's the difference to me between boycotting and canceling something. The cancel culture, the mob, right? It's called a movement for a reason, as the great Adam Carolla always says. Progressive movement. It keeps moving. It never stops. It never satisfies. So to me, again, boycotting something, boycotting a product. You heard their spokesman say something you don't like. It's well within your right to say, I'm not going to buy that product anymore. I'm not going to support that store. I'm not going to, support this channel, this network, whatever. That is well within your right. And to have it forced down you, no, you have a choice to do those things. That is what's beautiful about our country. But what we don't have a choice to do, what we don't have, in my opinion, the right to do, is to actively try to ruin somebody's life because you disagree with them. You disagree with their outlook, their beliefs, whatever. And you don't have anything else going in your life. So you want to just, let's ruin this person. Okay, when they're ruined, they can't get work ever again. They can't provide for their family. They have to move out of their nice house. They lose everything. We're going to be on to the next person. And for some people, this is how they live their lives. The outrage mob. I come on here and I get active. I get crazy. I say, give my opinions and say, oh, screw that guy or this and that. But it's coming from a place of like, it's an opinion. I don't really want to go out there and be like, no one should hire this. I don't know. I am not actively trying to destroy someone's life. I think that's the biggest difference in boycotting and cancel culture. You're not actively trying to destroy someone's life and what they've built and their family's life or whatever. You are just boycotting. You're not supporting. You're not either with your eyes or with your money. That's the big difference to me. So I've never been a huge fan of cancel culture. It always comes up at like the NFL draft. Yo, this guy said something when he was 13 years old that you can't draft him. He's a bad guy. It's like, okay, well, we've all made mistakes before, and forgive and forget, or maybe don't forget, maybe just forget. I don't know what, but this mob we've seen, this absolute just cancel them. They don't deserve, you were seeing it a lot, corporate media, all these different avenues. And we have so many options and selections out there that sometimes we just get so caught up. And now as a sports fan, I hate certain teams. I don't want them to not exist. Like as much as I hate the 49ers, I don't want them to not exist because then I got nobody to hate. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you guys today, but we're at the end of April here. I had a wonderful weekend, just kind of jumped into the breaking news today. But that's to me is the difference between boycott and cancel culture, and where and how free speech is kind of tied into all that. We don't have to agree with what people say. We can be mad, we can be offended. But one comedian, I can't remember his name, he said something like, when you're offended, nothing happens. It's just, oh, okay, you're offended. Like, move on. I've told you guys before, there's been some comedians who say stuff I completely disagree with. Some of the things I disagree with, I even find funny. And then there are things I'm like, oh man, screw that guy. How could you say that? But I'm not like, take him off the stage. He should never act again or whatever. Oh, a little fiery today. Okay, let me bring it down a bit. I got a good show for you guys today. That was my opening rant. And I also have a few topics from the weekend I want to get to. And then we're going to end the show again like we did last week with some baseball talk because it is baseball season. And I want to end it with some baseball slang definition, and then also a baseball rule that we're going to dive into a little heavier one today. But it's also one I think that it's not that complicated if you just think about it for a second. So I got some good feedback on those. So we're going to do that today. The big news from the weekend for me was the Tyson Fury fight. Look, I know not many of you guys are boxing fans out there. This is more than just supporting a boxer or supporting a sport. Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion of the world, undefeated, has one very suspicious draw on his belt. But just is a guy who he gets the whole selling of the fight, who's selling himself. He's an absolute, like, to me, he's like old school. You get a little bit of that vibe. The dude's 6'9" and 200 something. I mean, he's just massive in the ring, huge personality also. And he fought over the weekend against Dillian White in London at Wembley Stadium, 94,000 people there. And I've always wondered in these boxing events, when they have these giant football stadiums, you can't even see the ring really, but it's just being there, I guess, because the Brits, man, they were partying all day. And for us here in America on the West Coast, I got home after work. I mean, it was an afternoon fight. I wish, honestly, we'd have more of these on Saturdays. And I've said before, even on Sunday afternoons. I mean, we watch football for 5 months in the afternoon on Sundays. Why can't you have some, MMA or boxing? So this was fought in London. And the thing I've told you guys about Tyson Fury before, even if you're not a boxing fan, the dude is a guy that just, his story is truly inspiring. He's a very skilled fighter. He's obviously enormous, as I've mentioned. His great British accent, it's inspiring when you hear him talk, because he went through a period in his life where he was very depressed. He was, suicidal. He was dealing with substance abuse. He had thought he had accomplished everything he needed to. He blew up physically, stopped working hard, and then eventually turned it around, gave his life to God. And just, he's very outspoken about his Lord and Savior, and just a guy you want to root for. He really, really is. And then he gets in, and to see what he's done the past few years has really been phenomenal. The guy is just, he's my favorite guy to watch, just because he checks so many boxes. And, he's not an American dude, but he lives out here in Vegas and fights a lot out here. But this is the first time in a while he'd fought back in his home country, and just worth the time to watch. It was a 6-round knockout over Dillian White it was a 6-round, 12-round fight. This fight ended in the 6th round. And it was exciting. They were just kind of feeling each other out. They went Southpaw versus Orthodox. They were mixing it up there, and then really out of nowhere, Fury throws a massive uppercut that drills White in the chin. And it wasn't one of those blows where his like whole body head like snapped back. It was like it snapped his chin kind of, and then he just flat back straight down. I thought he was so stunned. He tried to get up so fast. He was done. There was no way he was going to get up and be able to go, but he tried to get up so fast, and he did the thing he's supposed to do, puts his hands out, and he, comes the referee. I'm fine. I'm fine. And the referee like steps back. He's like, no, walk to me. And the guy wobbles and he just waves it off. And 94,000 people lost their mind there at Wembley Stadium in England. So for me, that was the best thing I saw over the weekend. And if you guys have not seen Tyson Fury fight before, go check out some YouTube videos. His fights are always exciting, but it's also the backstory. He's a very inspirational, motivational type of speaker. Again, his story is truly amazing, and he's an athlete you want to pull for. There's rumors that he might be done. He might also do an exhibition against Francis Ngannou, the UFC heavyweight championship. Who knows if we'll ever see Tyson Fury again? He's only 33 though, and the heavyweight champ of the world. He could theoretically fight again and try to win all the belts for the undisputed heavyweight title holder, but we'll see what happens. But from the weekend, that fight with Dillian Whyte was truly amazing. And I got to give credit to the third man in the ring. Referees get a lot of flack and everything. I thought Mark Lyson from the UK, he had his hands full. Two massive dudes in there, two big heavyweights. He had his hands full. He was being active. He was grabbing a hold of guys. He was, putting them in the corner and getting in their face about how to keep the fight under control. He worked his tail off. He really did. I haven't seen Mark Lyson officiate a whole lot before, but I always love the officials, right? And almost 900 fights to his resume there, and I thought he was excellent, honestly, in this fight. It could have gone a little sideways there in the early rounds, but Mark Lyson, kudos to you, man, on a job well done, and just really looked athletic in there against two just, again, huge guys. And that brings me to another point. I got some flack from a friend over the weekend, and look at, I'm a rather non-athletic looking dude, right? Definitely could shed some weight on me. But there is this, it's funny to me. There's this, what would the word be? There is a misnomer, I should say, about referees, umpires, and athleticism. Now, I'm not talking about your standard high school guys who are, 65 years old and retired and very heavy. And I'm talking about top quality officials at professional and college level. And I know a lot of you guys are like, what are you talking about? There's a ton of super heavy Major League Baseball umpires. Well, I want to challenge you guys. I want to put a thought in your guys' head as someone who has not umpired or officiated anything the past couple of years. My body feels a lot better because of the wear and tear. Again, it could have been in better shape and that might have helped, but I challenge anybody. Look, just because some of these dudes look big on TV and baseball, there's more athleticism to officiating than a lot of people realize. I would challenge anyone to do 300, 400 squats in a game, get still, stationary, and have your head still, and then try to judge, a projectile that's going 90 plus miles an hour through an invisible box that you're supposed to see, taking foul balls off the arms and things of that nature. My point is, and it got me thinking after seeing Mark Lyson referee the heavyweight championship on Saturday, umpires, officials, again, at the highest of levels, college and pro, they're a lot more athletic than you think. And there takes a lot more athleticism than you realize. And I could speak for myself. I was never very fast. Again, lot of weight on me that I needed to lose. And I might have excelled and gone even further in my officiating career had I done so. But on a field, I knew how to move. I could move. I could cut angles through a baseball diamond. It's be quick, don't hurry, but also just finding whatever strategic way you could to get ahead of plays. Football, my movements there horizontally and shuffling and pinching and right angles, all those things. That was just me at a lower level work and stuff, except for baseball, of course. But if you look at officials in all different levels of sports, the eyes I know tell, oh, that guy's out of shape. How could he be there? And there are a few. I'll be honest with that. There's a few guys out there that their best days are behind them, but they're still able to get ahead of plays. They're still able to, their anticipation, their instincts are so much better than that of a young buck who's 30 years old or something in killer shape. And ideally you want those worlds to combine, right? To be athletic, and then have the experience of instincts and everything as well. But I see MMA and UFC and boxing referees, man, they got such a tall task. There's not a lot of running involved. It's just, they're constantly working their hands, grabbing guys, separating them, shouting instructions. I mean, that's definitely hard work out there, as is other sports. Baseball, you see a lot of guys standing. Oh, they're just standing out there. They're standing. But when the balls hit, when everyone's watching a ball, usually the umpires are running around bases, rotating and seeing, who has what, and they're watching things. Basketball, you see how up and down those guys go. In football, so much running around to police that game. So I want to say, show a little love to the officials out there. Even if a guy looks heavier, if you watch him, maybe some guys can still move pretty well. I gotta say so. I'm a step or two slower than I was, a few years ago. But not all athletes are athletes, I should say. If that's a way to, how am I trying to say this? Officials are more athletic than you think, and I hear it's all the time. Oh, they officiate because they're a bunch of nerds and they don't know how to pick up a bat or anything like that. I'm just like, a lot of them played before, not in college or whatever, but most of us played ball at some point. And it is funny. And I will say, the guys that I probably struggled working with the most were the guys that had never played the game before, had never played football, but they're really good with rules. And they thought it's no knock on guys that never played football or never play, because I played at a tiny high school, right? It's not about the level that you played or anything like that. But I do think there's something to be said from being on a field before, even if it was a long time ago and many, many pounds earlier. Anyway, that's all I want to say. Officials are more athletic than you think, and you still may be rolling your eyes at me. You know who you are. The other, on that note, let's go to some food topic because the other great thing I had over the weekend, which I probably shouldn't have, but hey, I dove in and said, let's go for it. Valerie and I went to breakfast on Sunday, and one of her favorite places, the Twisted Sage there in San Dimas, and scrolling through the menu, I'm like, we don't get out much. Okay, let's splurge a little bit. And I see on that menu bacon waffle. And I went, well, those are two of my favorite words. What are they doing together? I was like, this can't be right. Like, what exactly is that? And sure enough, it's a nice waffle with bacon inside of it, cooked inside. So the bacon slice already, maybe, and then the batter on, I don't know how they did it. It was an act of a miracle of God or something. It was incredible. And it tasted even better than it sounded. So if you're a bacon or waffle guy or both, I implore you, go to the Twisted Sage, give it a shot. Some people can't do salty and sweet, and I'm kind of that way usually. I don't like syrup touching my eggs. I don't have a lot of pancakes or waffles, to be honest with you, but much more of a waffle guy too, if it comes down to it. But this was just, it was heavenly, man. The right amount of syrup. Can't overdo the syrup because you got the bacon still. It was a couple thick pieces of bacon cooked into this waffle. Oh, so good. I was like, you have to roll me out of here. It's a good thing I don't have to umpire anymore. I wouldn't be able to get to second or third base. So that was truly something special from the weekend food wise. We're getting into the summer here, so it's about time to really give up some carbs and some other sugars and things of that nature here to kind of get not a beach body, but how about a parking lot beach body or something, right? Just something that can improve upon here, so that work on the tan and definitely lose some pounds for sure. So, but I got to share these food items with you guys. I just the things I do for the show. It's research and development, I guess, is the way to that I can look at that. Anyway, something else we watched. I'm a good guy. I Valerie and we watched the new The Batman with what's that guy's name? The Rob, the what are those shows? Wonderlight, Twilight, Rob Pattinson or something. Robert Pattinson. I don't know that stuff. But we watched the Batman, and Batman's my favorite superhero. I'm not a big superhero guy like my lady Valerie is. And every 3 minutes we're watching this movie. And she's like, in the comic books, they got this so right. I am so overjoyed that they finally did this right. I can't tell you how happy I am. I'm like, I get it. You've read all the comic books and you're very critical, but let's just enjoy this. And we did. It was a good 3-hour movie. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed kind of the route they went. It wasn't too corny, cartoony, like kind of those earlier Batmans were. Batman, who was it? Michael Keaton, Batman Returns, and Jim Carrey for Batman Forever. Those guys. I like the Christian Bale Batman's, Christopher Nolan, those ones. But this was different, and it's on HBO Max, or I don't know if some of you guys saw it in the theater, but I thought they tied a lot of like modern day themes into the movie. There was definitely, I won't spoil it for you guys, but there was definitely little digs, little jabs at I don't know. I always pay attention to movies. I'm always looking for that like secret message that they're putting out there. I'm very aware of those things. Maybe I overthink it, but hey, that's Matt. That's me, Matt Hersema, the overthinker all the time. But bottom line, the Batman, good movie. And a lot of you guys are probably like, okay, they made another Batman. Cool. Like, let me guess. He's a Cape Crusader. He's a billionaire's son. Like, I know. It's just, I think the same thing. Like they're doing another one, but the different interpretations of it, of the classic, is you gotta be interesting. You gotta make it interesting if you're gonna suck people in, draw them into your artwork, your piece that you're putting out there, because we all know the story. So you gotta throw something different at us. And this one, the Batman was what is that guy's name? Robert Pattinson? I don't care to look it up, since everyone was like, yeah, the Twilight guy. I'm like, I have vampires, werewolves, things of that nature. You lose me so fast. Zombies. Do not get me started on zombie movies and things. Oh, okay. I'll save that for Halloween. One other thing here. Valerie for years has told me, as we've argued this, and she has shows she likes. I have shows that I like. We've had some crossover. They could have been comedies, dramas, action. She's got me into shows. I've gotten her into shows. I probably have a higher batting average there in that category. But for years told her, you got to see Sons of Anarchy. I thought the same thing. I said, I'm not watching a show about a motorcycle gang. I don't care about Harleys and all that stuff. That's so fake. And I don't know. It's not fake, but it's like, I can't relate to it at all. And I finally, my brother, Sam, my buddy, Fred, they got me into it. And I was like, whoa, it blew me away. Because it's funny how we compare shows. We hold a certain show, okay, that's the gold standard. Like for, The Sopranos, right? I was a big 24 guy. I was always behind on shows, by the way. I was never the guy that generally watched these shows as they came out. It was years later. And the same thing with the Sons of Anarchy. And it's a little heavy. It's, a lot of violence. Just a pretty dark show, but the writing's incredible. It takes you to some bad places. So it is, again, not for the, what's the phrase, for faint of heart, or I always mix up the terms, but yeah, it's not, if you have very high standards on your content, what you see in a show, what you don't want to see, do a little research maybe, because it's not for everyone. But yeah, Sons of Anarchy, bottom line is, this weekend we're talking about, the subject came up and we started talking, and we're just like, Fred came over and we're like, come on, you'll like it. I guarantee you'll like it. If you get through a few episodes and you don't like it, then hey, you were right. It wasn't for you. And then sure enough, we put the first one in on Sunday, and they're like an hour long, 45 minutes, right? And I swear, 7 episodes later, we finally were like, no more. We can't do it anymore. And I had only seen it once, so I was kind of doing the rewatch with her. She was loving it. Fred was loving it. There's so many things in there that you missed before. that it was cool to rewatch. And I've done that with a few shows. So she's gotten me onto Peaky Blinders. I haven't finished that. I got a lot of work to do there. So I'm going to watch that with her. That's like post World War One in London with kind of some gangs and mobs and stuff. And I really like it, but I just need to dive in. But I think I got her hooked on Sons of Anarchy after she said for a long time, no way, this is stupid, I'm not going to like it. So there you go, Valerie. There you go. Let's see. CNN Plus was I think CNN Plus made a little bit more money than this podcast here, and I don't make a dime. CNN Plus, for all the millions of dollars they invested, hundreds of millions, if I'm not mistaken, that is just a bad miscalculation of funds, of interest, I would say. I don't quite understand why. Here's my thing with like these extra channels. So as a sports guy, I love having access because access means more games, right? I want to watch a Georgia Tech versus Duke baseball game on a Sunday because my buddy's working the game. I want to watch some random fight that's going on in London. I want to watch minor league baseball. I want to watch the US. I want options, right? That's why I think with streaming, especially the ESPN Plus idea was great because it basically gave you hundreds of more games and access to games. What I don't understand with and Paramount Plus, these other channels, okay, hey, we're gonna have special shows on this, but when you're like a news network, I don't understand. I never understood when they're like, yeah, they're having a CNN Plus. I'm like, there's already a CNN. Not many people watch that, but why would you then charge people more money for an added special channel? I don't even quite get the Discovery Plus. It's like there's already a Discovery Channel. Is it just more of this content? My point is there's no like extra games that you're providing. Disney Plus, I guess, is doing okay because it's basically a spot for all of these movies and new shows too, new content. But I just never understood it from a news perspective. It didn't make sense to me. Having HBO type of shows or like talk shows, is that kind of what they were thinking? I don't know. All I know is CNN Plus put a lot of money. I would say the same thing too if it was Fox News Plus or whatever MSNBC Plus. Like, I don't understand having the extra channel. Like, you're basically a news network, so you're gonna have what, documentaries and such. I can get behind that, but it just, for me, it didn't make a lot of sense, especially when there's so many other platforms that are going on right now. The ESPN Plus. I've still kind of been waiting for Fox Plus to have some more like streaming availabilities. Again, more content when they catch up. NBC, the Peacock network, that's kind of an extra thing. Well, what I think these channels also got to be careful of is with streaming, with paying, like how much, oh yeah, I want that network. Oh, I want that channel. It's like having something like the Longhorn Network was a great idea because you could just put that as part of a cable package, various platforms. But when you start going like independent, you're seeing this with Netflix, right? Netflix is not having a good month. They're losing a lot of subscribers. I think when people kind of get their fill of your content, unless you really bring out new banging, movies and constant shows, good content that is as good or better than a live sporting event that these other networks have brought in. I don't know if you're hearing me out or what exactly, if you're hearing what I'm trying to say, but the CNN Plus, I'm going to make fun of it, of course, but I didn't quite get it. And I don't think a lot of the rest of the country got it either because it is folded after, 3 weeks of it being available, and it's going to fold, I think, at the end of the month here. And I think it really actions speak louder than words. I don't know if it was a boycott, right? But it ended up canceling CNN Plus that I don't think needed to exist. It wasn't this active, hey, go out there, I hope they get canceled. And it's like, hey, if you want to exist, go ahead. I just don't think people are going to watch what you have. You got to provide me something, suck me in, give me something that is entertaining. Anyway, those are my 2 cents on that. Let me see here. What else? Did I ever hit the clock? Sometimes, I write these things. No, I didn't. So I don't even know how long I've been talking. Oh, okay. Picking a catcher's man. Oh, I'll save that for later. All right. Now to the big news. So last week, as I was recording, it was hallelujah. Let's champagne everywhere, however you celebrate. Basically one airline after another, after a federal judge in Florida said that the mandating of the CDC for masks on planes and other public transportation needed to be shut down immediately. Airlines, even in mid-flight, said, hey, you don't need masks anymore. If you want to, go ahead, but it's no longer required. And we celebrated, we rejoiced. Most of us, there's a few lunatics out there that cling to this, they cling to this this mask, this cloth napkin. Where's a napkin? I can grab a napkin here, like it's a religious medallion of some kind. And look, I've said it before. If you're worried, if you're that scared, I don't think you should. But if you're older, maybe overweight, I know I am, and you want to be safe, fine, go ahead. It's fine. You want to, if you think that protects you, I sure don't. Wearing cloth mask, it was kind of just cosmetic theater for me. But you could, LA County, Los Angeles County, you couldn't even give it like a day or two. You had to swoop in. Some people love power. Oh my goodness, they love power. And LA County says, no, the federal mandate is gone. We decree we will be the safest county in all of America by doing something that doesn't really do anything. And I just laughed because this affects me as an Uber driver, Lyft driver. There was a stretch, they make you take a picture of yourself. You make sure you're wearing a mask to verify and things of that nature. And I would say about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, is when I really started to see more and more passengers getting in my car without a mask. A lot of them were like, hey, I don't need one. I'm saying, dude, in my car, not now. I was required to, right? Required to, fancy word. What did I say about that? Required or strongly encouraged to? No. But so it was hilarious. Monday, was it Monday? Last Monday. So the mandates are deactivated, right? And Uber and Lyft, I think within a day, they send out all these notifications to the drivers. Hey, it's no longer required. We're breathing freely while driving. We're smiling. It's nice to see faces again. When you're thinking about this, when you're driving a stranger, when you have a stranger get in your vehicle, wouldn't it be nice to kind of see their face? First of all, to confirm it's them. Sometimes there's a picture, sometimes there's not. But also, if you want to let mask people walk into your bank, I don't think that's a good idea, but hey, to each his own. But getting in my car, my personal car, I'd like to know and see who the person is so that if something does go down, I can identify them. Wouldn't you think that'd be kind of important? Plus, it's my vehicle. That's another thing I don't understand. I work for Uber or Lyft, I guess, yes, but it's not your airline. It's not your airplane. It's my car. So I should be able to dictate, mandate, whatever you want to say, the rules in my car. So I played along. I wore the mask, whatever. I don't want to get written up by anybody because there are lunatics out there who will do that. They're looking for an opportunity to complain because they have no life and they have to, oh, well, how can I be heard? I need my voice heard. So everyone was happy. And then a day or two later, LA County, nope, you will not wear a mask. And so right away, Uber and Lyft went from it said specifically LA County mandates that you wear a mask. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're still doing this. In those 2 days, was there massive death that I missed among Uber passengers? What was this on CNN Plus and I just missed the data? We didn't wear masks in Ubers for 2 days. Millions of people died in LA County. Millions. So we have to go back to masks. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Everyone complaining about how could they do this to people on airplanes in these small little tubes of death? How can you? If you believe it's very simple. It's very simple. We don't have to keep doing this. Do masks work? Do they work? Well, yes, that's why we wear one. Okay, then why do you care if the person next to you or whoever isn't wearing one? Just be protected yourself. If you truly believe that thing works, then you're good. And truth be told, I don't want to die. The people that don't wear masks or don't believe in these things, and they're over it. There's 2 years of this data, and it's like, has it improved things? Has it not? 2 years. The people who don't want to wear masks, guess what? None of them want to die either. I sure don't want to die. But I don't think by not wearing one that I'm going to die. If you do, fine. Go ahead. If you believe in it that much, that is wonderful. I know there's people, again, back to religious medallions. Some people have crosses. Some people have Star of David. Some people have something else. If you truly believe that thing makes you safer, I understand that. I really do. God-fearing man myself, I've slipped up quite a bit over the years, and I'd like to kind of get back on track with my faith and be a little bit better every day, as we all should be. But if you truly believe something, man, all the power to you. You, again, have the freedom to believe what you want. That was in one of those amendments also. So, but don't sit there and tell me, well, mine works, but it only works if you're doing it also. Now it's just paranoia. Now you defeat your own argument. And again, when you start to point these things out, some people just shrivel up and you go, well, you want to kill people. It's like, well, no, I don't want to kill anyone. Can we have does your mask? Let's simplify this. Does it work? Well, yes, it works sometimes, most of the time, but it's important that all of us do what no. Individual choice. No one's dragging you onto that airplane, making you fly with hundreds of other people. And if we saw from the State of the Union, no one masked in that giant room, wasn't even that giant of a room, lots of people, I should say. How about the 80,000, 90,000 people at SoFi Stadium for the Super Bowl? They had invisible masks on that were required. No one's died there. Can we stop with the chaos and the hysteria? We're going to get sick. We're going to get sick of something. We probably all have already. And it won't be as bad. Well, Matt, I have a friend who went to Missouri, and they thought it was all BS and they died. Okay, well, all right. Well, they made the choice. How dare you? Okay, don't do anything. Then don't sit on your couch and never do anything. Don't do anything. Stay at home. No one's forcing you. Stay at home. I'm so tired I almost swore. And these cowards at LA County. Barbara Ferrer, she needs a hobby rather than being a puppet master to civilians' lives. And again, all you have to do is preach it. In the name of safety, we care more in LA County than every other county in the freaking US. Well, Matt, there's 10 million people in LA County. I know, I'm on the roads. Let's take a breather here. Okay. Oh, this was a funny line. I always joke about virtue signaling, and this guy, I was driving him in the car, and he's leaving. And virtue signaling, raising your hand, putting a color box or whatever is your square, and everyone got a virtue signal, right? I care. I would do something. I'm doing something good. This guy had this line for me. He goes, "Hey man, thanks for the ride. If I had any money, I'd give you a tip." Like, why did you say that? You want to feel better? Is the ultimate virtue signal? What are you doing? You just don't tell me anything. Just, I'd like a tip, but I'm not going to, if you never said anything and just didn't tip me, I'd go about my day. But to say that, hey man, if I had any money, I'd tip you. Like, okay, well, why? Whatever. We say things now just to say things. This is the problem. And you're probably saying the same thing right now after listening to me ramble away for 30, 40 minutes. Yeah, you say things just to say things. That's why I did a podcast, so that I can come on here, ramble away, and not have to say stupid things in my daily life out in public. I could just say it to you guys. And I thought there'd be like 9 people listening. But the past few months, people tune into this. I don't know why. You guys write me up. Tell me, hey, I like listening to you because you sound like an idiot. You can say that. But I've been shocked, especially on the Tuesdays, at the numbers, people on YouTube and people listening just audio. That reminds me, I'm going to try this today. I don't know if it's going to work, but for those of you who are avid Spotify listeners, I think now you can watch this podcast on Spotify also. If either on your phone on the app, or if you have it on your computer, you can obviously watch it at YouTube. I always upload it there. But I think now you can watch it on Spotify. I think we have the ability. I'm going to upload the video today, and they will take away the audio for the other platforms. But give that a shot. I'm going to look myself later today and see, or tomorrow when this posts, and check that out. But the other thing I bring up, the COVID thing, guys. Look, I think even the most passionate people about this subject, I just think most of us are over it. We're done. We're just like, can we stop this already? I mean, it's run its course through most of us. Sure, there's the boogeyman is still out there and might get us still, but we got to live our lives. Not living our lives is so much more damaging to us, I believe. I mean, the suicides, the alcoholism, all these things that are real issues that have spilled upon all of us because we've been so I mean, I'm saying we as a society, it's not good to not be around people, to be worried every time you meet somebody. Like, it's not good for our sanity. Clearly not mine. You guys see that on a weekly basis. But do you guys remember in June of 2021, almost a year ago, and it was the College World Series, and they sent a team home. They eliminated them because they didn't have enough players. And right about that time, right before then, even California had removed the masks. We were on our way a year ago to being done. We were done with this. Vaccines were out there for people who wanted them. The masks were coming off even in places like California. It was like, whoa, okay, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm bringing this up because there was much celebration the past few weeks about, okay, let's normal, back to normal, not new normal, regular normal. So we can focus on the more important issues, like why it costs $15 to get a bite to eat, or why it costs so much at grocery stores and gas prices and all these violence in the streets. Let's focus on those things. But it was about a year ago. COVID was over. It was done. We were on our way. And the powers that be, the people who started to see people happy, people have freedom, man, it's going to be a great summer. People warned us. They said, do not get comfortable. They're going to bring back masks. They're going to do this. And then it got way worse. So think about this. This could have all been done a year ago had we just moved on. How much more, other than firing people from their jobs for refusing to take vaccines, for, whatever, for not getting religious exemptions on things. Think about all the liberties that were taken away. And we're still sitting here crying about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter because he's going to take away our freedoms by giving us more voice to say things. A year ago. And how much changed in that year? How much better did it get better a year ago when everything got back? And no, it got worse. We made it through the summer. Then it was like after summer, hey, okay, we're bringing the mask back. We're going to shut down places of business again. We're going to have mandates that for medical procedures that you need to have by law. You can't work at these places. I mean, things got really bad in the winter, and the winter of death, right? We were threatened as we're going to die for those unvaccinated. Very inspirational, by the way, from our president. So just before you get complacent, before you get too comfortable in some of the good changes going forward here, just think it was about a year ago where we were pretty much in the same position. And we got too comfortable, I think. When things started to come back, it wasn't enough people saying, no, stop. We're not doing this. We're not playing the game anymore. And it is a game. Okay, enough of that. Just history repeats itself. That's all I'm saying. A couple of okay, these are two things. I'm gonna go three quick hitters there, and then I'll move on and I will get to my baseball ending of the show here. But three ridiculous things I saw from the week. Number one is back to Uber. I don't know what it is about this comfort in people talking on the phone in the car. Look, it's my job to drive you where you got to go. But I would never feel comfortable talking on the phone to somebody else while in a stranger's car. It's like the same dude that talks on his phone in the grocery store line. Like, you think other people around you want to hear your conversation? And then I'm listening that you can't help but listen. I try to not listen, but it's just like, then you hear what they're talking about and you're like, whoa. And it's usually something regarding the law or something regarding money and people because of social media, we're so much more comfortable now putting our business out in the streets for the masses to see. And that's like, dude, there's a lot of things in my life that I don't want to be public. And one of them is a phone conversation. Like, I try to remember walking away from a group of people so you can have a phone conversation, but people get in my car all the time, and it's a 20-minute ride, and they'll get in, and from the first minute till the 19th minute, they're on the phone. It's not like they get a phone call at the very end, or they take a call. Hey man, I'm in an Uber. I'll be there in 20 minutes. It's nothing like that. I'm talking about a full-on conversation. I don't get it. It's ridiculous to me. But again, if you're paying me money to drive you somewhere, it's your ride. You're paying. I don't need a conversation either. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just, I even something that's innocent. I don't have any animosity or anything. I just want to have a conversation with someone. I don't really want other people hearing what I'm having to say. That's just me. Maybe I'm the lunatic, which could be the case. Speaking of lunatic, there was this woman at Costco. I've seen the service dog, the help me live my life pet or whatever. I've seen that before, service animals. This was a new one on me, guys. Look at this is where I'm just starting to snap. You guys know where I stand with the dog, the barking dog. It drives me crazy. Our former roommates, they had a wonderful dog, great guy. Love that guy. Saw him last week. Miss that guy. Just a fun-loving dude, little guy, little dog. But this was, and these people that take their dogs to the grocery store. This is a Costco. This lady had a backpack, and in a backpack where there's usually that small zipper area, it was like this clear dome, this clear bubble. And in that bubble was a bird. It looked like a parakeet or something. And I did a double take. I was like, do they sell birds here? Did she buy a bird? Then I realized she sat down, had her little lunch, and I was like, this lady brought her pet bird to the grocery store. What is wrong with us? What are we doing? Was it your seeing eye bird? Like, what? It couldn't have been. She looked like she was doing just fine with that. And I have to always like explain myself. I don't hate most animals. Excuse me. And I do know that there are people who were in Afghanistan or something who, yeah, they need a service animal. I get it. But if everybody gets a crutch now, everyone gets a reason why they get to go to the front of the line. My life's harder than you. And I'm just sitting there going, what? You need friends. I'm sorry. You need human interaction. If you can't go to a Costco and overspend like the rest of us and then go appreciate $1.50 hot dog and a Pepsi just without your pet, there's something going on. A service bird in your backpack. It's behind you. You couldn't even see the bird. The bird's looking out your back, looking behind you. What is that? In case it was your rearview mirror? Someone's coming after you? It'll beat you, whatever bird sounds make. I give myself migraines. I'm just going, where are we in society now? To go from I have but one life, the only regret I have is that I only have but one life to live for my country or whatever. I think it was Patrick Henry or Liberty or whoever said it. We've gone from that to I need a parakeet in my backpack when I go shopping at Costco for an hour. Am I cruel, guys? I don't think I'm cruel. This is all connected to how our society is just disintegrating. Okay, last stupid thing I saw. And this guy, some people, they don't change. They try to change. They try to give you the perception of change. You guys know this who've maybe tried to date someone a second time, if you know what I mean. Oh, they've changed, or I've changed, I promise. And then a few months ago, oh, no, they haven't changed. They just, they changed in pencil, not in pen, if you know what I mean. So Jeff Fisher coached the Rams for some amazing years in 2012 to 2016, whatever. They moved to LA. And the Jeff Fisher coach team is Mr. 7-9, right? Couldn't even go 500 most of the time. And I had massive respect for him. I loved that he was coaching the Rams because he had coached the Tennessee Titans to a Super Bowl. Defensive dude, right? Been around the game a long time. Played on the 85 Bears, I think, as a punt returner, defensive guy, USC grad, Trojan. A lot of reasons to like him, but his performance, his teams were abysmal. And just he had never adapted. He had never evolved, I should say, to the modern NFL. Got fired in the middle of the season in 2016. And thank God this guy I didn't like or have any idea who it was, Sean McVay, came around. My point is, Jeff Fisher, his teams were always undisciplined, a lot of penalties, teams fighting. His offenses were terrible, could barely score any points, right? Well, Mr. Jeff Fisher is back in the coaching ranks, and this time in the USFL, which I've been watching the past few weeks. And it's been great. Usually a couple games Sunday, a couple games Saturday. Gets me through the, the downtime of flipping channels through the hockey playoffs are coming too. Go Kings, go! Can't wait for that. But Mr. Jeff Fisher, you know what? Perception is everything. And this isn't against backwards hats. Colin Cowherd has talked about this before. Backwards hats. Hey, the great Bill Barnes said before, hey, your world's going forward. That's the direction you should be going. Put your hat forward, whatever. But Jeff, you shouldn't be a head football coach, at least into the professional ranks, with your hat backwards. And you're looking at him and you're just going, you look ridiculous, because it's not just. It's like he's trying to be like, hey guys, look at me, over the top. I'm cool, hip Jeff Fisher now. That's what he's like. The perception is. Once again, this is not a knock on guys wearing backwards hats. I'm just talking from a head coaching standpoint. How ridiculous would Bill Belichick look with a backwards hat? Even Sean McVay. If Sean McVay flipped his hat around, he doesn't wear a hat because he's got gorgeous hair. But I'm just like, what are you doing? You're trying to give this perception that you're someone you're not. And then wouldn't you know it? You turn Jeff. You look at the results of Jeff Fisher's teams through 2 weeks. I didn't see what they did this weekend, but 18 points in 2 games. The first 2 games, teammates fighting with each other, ton of penalties, just disorganized. Nothing changes. Just because you turn your hat around doesn't mean you change who you are. It's all about the results. And Jeff Fisher, they probably scored 30-something points this week, and I just didn't even see it. But I'm like, what are you doing, man? Well, I'm cool. Hey, style, look good, feel good, play good, whatever. But let's have it's like, when they used to wear suits, the coaches used to wear suits in basketball on the sidelines, and even football, they wore suits, right? Things change. I get it. They don't wear that stuff anymore, but there's a professionalism. And Jeff Fisher just rocking the backwards hat on the sideline, trying to look all fiery. And then he's every, instead of just, standing there like most, he's trying to look like he's caring more. You can look like a lot of things just by changing or tweaking this or that. But at the end of the day, you're still that guy that got dumped a few years ago who said you were going to change things and just tried to change it up a little bit, but it was with pencil. You could erase it, and there you are again. If you're going to do with real change, comes real results. You know what I mean? It's you see, okay, this guy really has changed. This girl has changed, whatever. It doesn't have to be relationships. That's just my 2 cents for the day in that regards. Okay. I still didn't get a chance to get to this today, but I will get to it probably next week's. Things that has started to ruin sports, in my opinion. I want to get to that probably next week at some point. If there's more things that don't pop up here, we will get to that. I also want to say, as the hockey season is wrapping up here, the Kings have 2 more games left. They played the Ducks over the weekend, beat the Ducks. Anaheim having a rough season, but Ryan Getzlaf, a captain for the Ducks and a 15-year veteran, Stanley Cup champ in 2007, is calling it a career. And one thing hockey does better than any sport, in my opinion, is the send-offs, whether it's a referee working his last game or a veteran player, a Hall of Famer like Getzlaf, who's had an amazing career. It's just, it could be the tapping of the sticks. It could be, a handshake line at the end of the game or something. Hockey, just, you truly do believe what they're doing when they're doing it. The sportsmanship and the all things of that nature. It was Wednesday night. The Kings played at the Ducks and then played them again at home on Saturday. But it was Jonathan Quick had an amazing game last week against the Ducks. I was thinking Jonathan probably was, towards the end of his career here and not looking that great. But he was his old self, man, or his young self, I should say. Just an incredible game. He made 5 or 6 saves that I don't know how he stopped the puck, wide open nets, and he just got a glove on it or did the splits. But anyway, as soon as the game ended, Ryan Getzlaf skated by Quick and just tapped him on the shin guard. It was just like, hey man, you got the best of us tonight. Great game. They had 1 goal, I think, or something like that. And I love seeing stuff like that. And then the Kings, they had a great send off for him at Staples Center. Yes, Staples Center, not crypto.com or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. So congrats to Ryan Getzlaf. Season is not ending great here for the Anaheim Ducks, but he's had an amazing career and definitely one of the best Mighty Ducks of all time. They're still the Mighty Ducks to me. I don't know why, but anyway, now we'll wrap this up today with some baseball conversations, some baseball topics. There's a play that occurred a couple weeks ago in Major League Baseball that I want to, I'll put on video here if I can. And then I'll try to talk as much as I can through it for the audience out there. But the first thing I want to do, I told you guys every week, we're going to end the show with a baseball slang because baseball has a language of its own. And then also talk about a rule of some kind in baseball so that we can all get a little more knowledgeable of the baseball rules. So the first, last week I gave you like 3 slang terms just to get us out of the gate. Today I'm going to give you one that I'm going to try to just do one because I need like 20 of them, right, to make it through an entire Major League Baseball season. But these baseball slang term I want to give you today is none other than Southpaw. What is a Southpaw? You hear it in boxing, right? The Southpaw stance versus the Orthodox stance. Orthodox is left foot forward. Generally, your right arm is your power arm. If you're Southpaw, it's a left-handed striker, right? But this term actually comes from baseball. And why Southpaw, meaning left-handed. So here comes the Southpaw, left-handed pitcher, right? And so people are like, I remember when I heard this a few years ago, like, why is it called a Southpaw? And I was like, I thought it was more from boxing, and maybe someone has a boxing story and I'm wrong here, but this is where I heard the term came from, why it is called a Southpaw. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, but it's called a Southpaw because most stadiums back in the day, right, games were played even during the day, and as the sun was setting, they didn't want the sun setting in the hitter's eye, right? Because of fastballs coming at him, right? And you could argue, well, it's harder for the fielders behind it. Well, there's obviously a bigger grandstands behind the plate. Back in those days, there wasn't as much seating in the outfield, so a sun setting behind a pitcher, right, was a bad idea. They even knew that in construction back then. So they used to make fields that, so if it was set, for those that don't know, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. So they made the baseball fields with the sun setting behind home plate, usually for most of them. And if you look at most of them today, I think that's how they are, give or take. But the stadiums are so much bigger now that it doesn't matter. So anyway, the sun would set, rises in the east, set in the west. So they made center field to home plate. They made that east to west, right? So if you're a left-handed pitcher, looking me, left hand here, I'm staring into the plate. I'm looking what direction? Rises in the east. Let me see. Rises in the east, sets in the west. So north would be that way, right? So they called it a Southpaw because I'm delivering my southmost arm, right, pitching on the south side of the pitching rubber, the pitching dirt. So that's where the term comes from. Maybe some of you guys are like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Or maybe you're like, wow, my mind was blown when I heard that because there was so much more to it than just like, hey, what's a Southpaw? It's a left-handed pitcher. Oh, okay. And then it was like, that's the end of the conversation. And then you hear Southpaw all the time in boxing, right? Oh, he's a Southpaw. He brings a left power and this and that. So there's probably some other terms of it from boxing, but that's just the term I wanted to share with you guys today. I think last week, what did I give you? Ugly finder, which is a line drive into like the opponent's dugout. I gave you a ground ball with eyes, seeing eye single, specifically a ball that just kind of finds its way through the infielders. And then the other one was an excuse me swing, a little swing you didn't mean to do that you usually tap the ball fair in front of the plate. And oh, you didn't mean to do that, but you did it. Excuse me swing. So today's baseball slang term is Southpaw. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Now I'm going to take a brief moment here to set up my video because I have a great, it's not really a conversation because it's just me, but a great little ending here to the show with a simplified baseball rule that may require some explaining. So give me a second here while I set up. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk briefly about basically what an appeal play is and just the concept of the ball being in play versus out of play. Okay. I'm not trying not to get too much into this. My video may in fact not be working here. Sorry about that. But anyway, you see this all the time in baseball. It's just part of the game. And people just can't seem to wrap their head around the whole concept of, well, in order to do a proper appeal, you got to get on, you have to come set, and then you step off, and then you have to throw to base. And okay, anytime you're making an appeal to a base, you are making an appeal that the base runner either did not touch a base or left too early. saying in a tag up situation. So a tag up situation, a fly ball to the outfield, the runner from third tags up, but before the fielder catches the ball, he leaves early from third base. The umpire doesn't just call the guy out. You have to physically make an appeal, throw the ball over to the base, step on the base, or tag the runner to be like, hey, he left early. And that is the proper way to appeal. And then the umpire will make a decision. Oh, yes, he was out, or yes, he was safe. So anyway, I don't think we're going to have video here. I'll try to pull something else up for you. But yeah, let's just go back to the regular. So basically, there's this misconception. Okay, first of all, when the ball is in play, the pitcher, there's things that need to happen for a ball to be in play. Okay, say there's to start an inning. Now a lot has changed now with the clocks and everything. And used to be like a ball wasn't, if there was no one on base, it really didn't matter because no one else could get out or whatever. But basically, let's pretend there's runners on base. Okay, to start an inning, or we'll say for an easier format, after a foul ball, runners on base, foul ball, right? You put a new ball in play. The umpire then, if you watch close, the umpire puts the ball in play. It's just a simple point. You always hear that to start a game, right? Play ball, right? But it's usually just, hey, play. Ball is officially in play. Okay. Nothing legal. I shouldn't say legally. There are things anyway, just for to be brief. Action cannot really occur until the ball is in play in general. All right. And it is something just as simple as the umpire making the ball officially in play. Now, to put the ball in play, you need to have a few things. You need to have the pitcher with the baseball in hand, with his foot on the rubber, secure to the rubber, and you need a batter in the batter's box. You can't physically put the ball in play until those things happen. Now, when a ball is hit into the field, okay, runners advance and everything, the ball does not become dead at any time unless someone officially, hey, calls timeout, requests timeout, I should say. You can no, all the umpires can call timeout. You can request timeout as a base runner, as a coach, as a fielder. You can request timeout. And so that's the dance, really. When you request timeout, that ball is then not again put back in play until pitcher has a baseball, his foot's on the rubber, not straddling the rubber, on the rubber, and a batter is in the box. I think there's an exception somewhere, but that's the general rule that'll help you through this explanation. So what happened in this game with the Mets and Mets and doesn't matter. It's first and third, fly ball to left field, runner from third tagged up and scored. Okay. The ball came back into the field of play, came into the pitcher, and the ball's still live. Runners can still advance at that time, right? And all you have to do when the ball is already in play, when the ball is in play, you don't have to get on the rubber. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to play that song and dance. The ball is already in play. If the ball is in play, you can just throw it over to third base, step on it, be like, hey, he left early. But everybody thinks to do a proper appeal, no, you got to get on the rubber. And then you have to come set, step off. That's how Major League Baseball announcers mess this up all the time. And it's like, you're missing the point here. The only reason that happens, or that you see that and you think, oh, that's the way to make a proper appeal, is that the ball becomes dead at some point. Someone requests timeout. You change the baseball, timeout, switch the baseball. Then what did I say 5 minutes ago? By rule, to make the ball in play, what do you need? You need the pitcher on the rubber with the ball in his hand, and you need a batter in the box. So that's when it comes in, no pun intended, into play, that the pitcher has to wait for the umpire to put it in play. Then he steps off legally to become a fielder, right? You technically, no, there's no runner over there, so that'd be a balk, but you step off, and that's why that is in people's minds, that he's on the rubber, you got to step off and throw it to a base. That's because the ball was dead. So to make it alive and in play, he's got to have the ball on the rubber, batter in the box. Where he has to come set, I don't know where that came from. That's just people making stuff up. You don't need to come set to put the ball in play or anything like that. Now, high school rules, totally different. Totally different. You can, in high school, you don't even have to do any of that nonsense. You literally call timeout, make sure the ball is dead, and you say, hey, Bob, play umpire, we're appealing the runner left third base early. High school, you can actually do what's called a verbal appeal. You don't have to mess up the format here because it can get messed up, and I'll give you an example. So they simplify it at high school. But guys, if you're going to do an appeal, you don't be, hey, get on the rubber. You got to properly do this. Hey, is the ball dead? Yes. Time is out. Okay. Get on the rubber. Wait for him to put it in play. You get up when the plate umpire puts the ball in play, step off, make your appeal. Hey, that runner missed second base. Okay. You step on the base, and it doesn't have to be, you can also tag the runner, by the way. Say the runner has advanced to another base. You can also tag the runner if you're appealing, hey, you missed second base. Or you see this a lot like at first base when a guy oversteps a base or runs past first base, right? You're allowed to run past first base. But say you miss first base. Like if you go tag he hasn't made it an effort to go to second base, right? Because if you make an attempt, which it could be just a jab step at a second base, then you would be eligible to be tagged out. But say the guy runs past first base. By rule, you're allowed to run past first base, but say he missed first base. In that situation, you can tag him if you're appealing that he missed the base, not that he's making an attempt. If he makes an attempt, he's fair game. But you wouldn't in that situation have to get on the rubber, step off, throw over all that, because he's going to walk back to the base and touch it probably. So you can tag the guy for an appeal also. So I hope that makes sense to you baseball experts out there. And it was tough, man, as an umpire. Guys would be like, we're going to appeal third, give him the ball. And they would even be standing on third base, like almost standing on it, because an appeal also has to be an intentional act. You can't just accidentally walk by and step on the base with the ball in your hand, and the umpire has to read your mind like, oh yeah, he appealed it, he's out. You have to intentionally do it. So this happened in this Mets game. It was first and third, fly ball to left, runner from third tags up and scores. They get the ball to the pitcher somehow. I don't know if the ball was put in play or whatever, or if it stayed in play, because it eventually had to be in play. So while the defense attempts to appeal third base that the runner left early, the runner from first takes off to second base. And he was dead to right. He was going to be dead, right? So they turn to look at him. They make a play on him. They end up pausing and being like, wait, what's he doing? Thinking something's going on. He ended up like walking to second base. He was willing to be put out, because the other thing with appeals to remember, an appeal has to be made before a pitch is thrown, or an attempted appeal. So like you attempt to do an appeal and throw the ball out of play, or that was your only shot to appeal. You don't get a redo, or another play, an attempted play, meaning what? Could be throwing a ball and a runner, a play meaning ball and runner generally, right? There's no play being made there. If you chase after a runner at second base who's running to second base, you chase him with the baseball, you've made a play on that guy. You now lose your ability to appeal. That is why Buck Showalter had his guy do that, because Buck Showalter knows the rules pretty well. He had his guy just go to second base, because even if you get out, that run will count, because they then can't appeal that run that the guy left early, because it would have been because then it doesn't matter if it's 3 outs or not. It would be lose my train of thought. It would be an attempted play. So a play, attempted play, I think attempted appeal, meaning if you throw the ball into the stands by accident, or a pitch. Once a pitch is thrown, whether the guy missed second base or missed third base or whatever, you cannot then go, hey, wait, that guy missed second. No, you already made a play. It legalized everything. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. But one other thing I'll say is that when there is a fly ball that's caught, and say a runner from second base starts running on the crack of the bat, the ball's caught. They throw the ball back to second base and a guy gets doubled off, right? You typically see that on a line drive or something. It's not a quote force out. That is also deemed an appeal. It is deemed that the base runner did not go back and retouch that's what tagging up is deemed. It's called retouching a base, which you legally have to do after a batted ball is caught. You have to go back and retouch that base before you can advance, or in the case of good base running, tagging up, being on the base until the ball is caught before you advance. But if you start to go and like, oh no, he caught it. Oh, he threw it back for the force out. It's not a force out. Force out is there's nowhere for you to run. And now it's the ball. Did the ball get there? You don't have to tag the guy for this appeal play, right? But it's the same concept. I know I probably took you guys in a crazy crash course just now, and you probably are scratching your head. But if you have questions, send them to me. I had that video, but I think I explained it anyway, as best I could. So hopefully you guys learned a little something today about appeal plays. And if not, then I didn't do a good enough job explaining it. I tried to hit all the different boxes there, but just remember, it's important to know, is the ball in play or out of play? Because we had a situation in a minor league game where they appealed to second base, that got on the rubber and threw over there, and umpires just stood there and they're like, are you going to make a call? And they're like, the ball's not in play. Oh yeah, well, okay, get on the rubber. Yeah, you got to wait for the umpire. I know it's, no one watches the umpire, right? But it's kind of important. It's like marking the ball ready for playing football. It's like, okay, now legal stuff can happen. You point the ball in play. All right. Like all these little things matter. All right. Enough out of me, guys. Hopefully your week has gone well. We've talked about Elon Musk. We talked about masks. We talked about appeal plays and slang terms. Jeff Fisher's backwards hat and safety parakeets or whatever is going on else in this world. I'm out of breath. I'm out of excitement today. I've gone a little long. I do apologize, but hey, this is my one time a week to get on here and just let loose and have at it. So agree or disagree. Don't cancel me. You don't cancel me, man. Please don't. I need this podcast. It's all I have in the world. It doesn't pay me anything, but I need it. You can boycott me all you want. Don't cancel me. That's all I ask. All right, guys. Big show on Friday. Larry Pollock will be on the show with us. Rancho Cucamonga firefighter and one of the head instructors for the Mount Sac Fire Academy and a Rio Hondo Prep graduate, of course, of 1994. You don't want to miss our episode on Friday, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in today and spending about an hour with me here on the Get Home Safe podcast. I'll be back the following Tuesday with more of this type of content, we'll say, and I'll have another baseball slang term for you and another baseball rules topic for you guys as well. I hope I didn't bore you. Send me an email, gethomesafepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those good places. Shoot me a message if you like. I love hearing from you guys. It could be just something, one word. It could be sentences, questions. Come on, guys. Let me know you're out there listening. I can see you're listening, but sometimes it's nice to hear from you guys. And as a reminder, check out Spotify. See if, in fact, you can watch the podcast, as I will try to upload that today accordingly. And hopefully I don't mess anything up. I'm out of breath. I'm out of ideas. I will see you guys on Friday with Larry Pollock. You don't want to miss that episode. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.